Hi, my name is Mark and welcome to Cooking with the Tachnas. Today I'm going to show you how I make my mashed potatoes. I leave the skin on and I'm using russet potatoes. Now the reason why I leave the skin on is when I was younger I always thought all of the nutrition was in the skin. All the vitamins, all the fiber, everything was in the skin and nothing was in the flesh. And I wanted my potatoes to be healthier. So I leave the skin on. Well, truthfully, there's really just a little added extra in the skin, and that's mainly fiber. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with these mashed potatoes. What I wanna do is I wanna cut my mashed potatoes and boil them and put them in cold water with some salt first. And I wanna make sure that my potatoes are evenly cut. You don't want really big hunks, just nice, even. Just sort of like that, a nice cube. Not really a cube, but this size. I'm gonna go ahead and do up all my other potatoes. I have about 3 pounds of potatoes here. Maybe one of the other reasons why I leave the skin on is because I'm a guy and I just was being lazy one day and didn't want to peel all the potatoes. I was like, hey, let's leave the skin on. And it really turned out great. People love these potatoes. Nice pat on my back. Okay, I am finished cutting my potatoes. They're all just about this size, so they're evenly cooked. I'm gonna put them in my water. The water is cold. There's some salt in the water, about a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna bring it up to a boil, and then I'm going to let it cook for about 10 to 20 minutes. It really depends on, how fast they cook, and I'm gonna fork it and see how it goes. So I'm gonna get it in the water. The potatoes are almost done. They have been boiling for 20 minutes now. I didn't set the timer until the water came up to a boil. So let's check the potatoes and see how they're doing. These are hot. They should just flake right apart. Just break apart really easily. The edges, I don't know if you can see it, but they're starting to get really soft and there's no sharp edge to it anymore. But they're just breaking apart really easily. So these are ready to mash. I'm going to dump them into a colander and in a sink, and then we're gonna get to mashing. Okay, the potatoes are great. I just dumped them in this colander and I'm letting them dry a little bit. You don't want a wet potato. It won't absorb the milk and the butter properly if it's too wet. So I'm going to first take my potatoes and put it in this mixer bowl. And I'm going to mash my potatoes just with a hand masher first, just to work it up a little bit. Doesn't need to be much. See, just like that. In this little bowl, I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, salt, and garlic powder. This is 1 cup of milk that I have warm. Here is 1/2 of a stick of butter. And the butter is warm. I have the milk and the butter pretty warm, so it just is easier to melt with the potatoes. You don't want to put ice cold stuff in here. It just takes forever for it to melt. And this is 1/2 of a cup of cheddar cheese and Monterey Jack. I'm just gonna get it started again with my masher. And now I'm going to get out my KitchenAid and we're gonna whisk it. You can whisk it as much as you want. If you want it a little clumpy, that's great. If you really want it smooth, that's perfect as well. It's all up to you. Remember, this is a base recipe. So I'm just gonna whisk it until I think it's good to go. push down the sides a little bit here. I've had it mixing in the KitchenAid for just about 2 minutes. It looks really great so far. So, let's see how it is. Get it in our bowl. Here it is. Boy, that looks great. Definitely see all the skin in there, which makes it look nice and rustic. And it has a nice creamy to it, but there's also some potato chunks as well. It's really good. You can taste the cheese, you can taste the garlic, and a little bit of salt and pepper. And it's light, but there's also chunks to it. So it really sort of comes out however you want it to. It depends on how much you want to mash it and blend it and whisk it. And even the milk depends on that as well. But this is perfect. It's great for standalone, just to eat it like this, or to put that gravy over top of it during your Thanksgiving meal. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, like, and ring that bell for future notifications. Have a wonderful day.